In the heart of Johannesburg in 1983, a daring bank robbery stunned an entire city. Picture this: three well-dressed men gliding into Trust Bank, calmly delivering empty bags to the teller and politely requesting them to be filled. No yelling, no violence, no weapons in sight. It was a heist so smooth, so calculated, that before anyone even realized what had happened, they were gone, vanished into thin air. But what seemed like an isolated, bizarre incident soon escalated. By the end of that same day, three more banks fell victim to identical robberies. It was as if a ghost was haunting Johannesburg's financial district. The police were baffled. Who could pull off these meticulously timed heists, and how were they targeting so many banks at once? The shocking truth was soon unveiled. The mastermind wasn't your average criminal. No, he was Andrew Stander, a police officer, one of their own. Born in 1946 in Transvaal, South Africa, Andrew Stander was destined to be a cop, thanks to his father, a top police official. Andrew graduated from police college in 1963, aced his exams, and climbed the ranks fast, becoming a captain at just 26. But despite his golden career, something was missing. Andrew felt disconnected, burdened by expectations, and haunted by South Africa's turbulence during the apartheid era. It all started to unravel for Stander in 1966, during the infamous Soweto uprising. He watched, sickened, as fellow officers gunned down unarmed schoolchildren protesting apartheid. This tragedy, coupled with a troubled marriage and growing discontent with his life, pushed him to the edge. Feeling he'd never lived life on his own terms, Stander made a decision that would change South African criminal history. Out of sheer desperation and fueled by disillusionment, Andrew Stander plotted his first bank robbery. Using his insider knowledge as a detective, he devised a plan. On a typical workday, Stander simply used his lunch break to board a flight from Johannesburg to Durban. Security back then was lax, letting him easily slip a revolver onto the plane. With only the most basic disguise, a wig and fake mustache, he walked into a Durban bank, flashed his weapon discreetly to the cashier, handed over a bag, and walked out minutes later with a small fortune. Before his colleagues noticed his absence, he was back at his desk in Johannesburg, business as usual. This was the beginning of a spree that would see him rob nearly 30 banks from 1977 to 1980. By all appearances, Stander led a double life, using the stolen money to buy homes, cars, and even open a souvenir shop with his friend Carvin Dentor. Dentor had no clue that his business partner was the very bank robber South Africa's finest were hunting. But Stander's story took a twist when he tried recruiting Dentor for a new round of robberies. Unbeknownst to Stander, Dentor was a secret informant for the government's State Security Bureau. Soon, agents closed in, staking out a car at the Johannesburg airport tied to Stander. They watched him come and go before finally catching him with a bag of stolen cash after yet another heist. The evidence was overwhelming. Stander could no longer talk his way out. Authorities estimated he had pocketed nearly 100,000 rand, about $190,000, in today's money, always careful to keep each haul small to avoid suspicion, staying just below the radar. Stander went to trial, where he claimed political protest as his motive, disgusted by the police's role in suppressing dissent and haunted by his own actions during the Soweto massacre. Yet, official records suggested he hadn't even been present at the shootings. Speculation grew. Was his justification sincere, or just a story fueled by boredom after exciting early years in the police force? Andrew Stander was sentenced to 75 years in prison, although, with sentences running together, he'd serve a minimum of 17 years. Stripped of his badge, he was sent to a maximum security prison. But for Stander, incarceration was just another challenge. He quickly befriended fellow bank robber Alan Hale, and together they dreamt of escape. That opportunity came on August 11, 1983. During a physiotherapy session, Stander and Patrick McCall, another inmate, overpowered their guards and fled in a stolen car. They were clever, hijacking a police van to slip through roadblocks, taking hostages only as needed, and always staying one step ahead. Within months, they orchestrated the daring jailbreak of their friend Hale. The media dubbed them the Stander Gang. The gang resumed robbing banks, sometimes hitting 3 or 4 in a single day. They even robbed a bank beneath the very police task force set up to catch them. Their rule: never use violence, never brandish weapons unnecessarily, and make every heist as smooth and undetectable as possible. Their spree netted nearly 5,000 rand, several times more than Stander ever managed solo. But the good times wouldn't last. Security cameras finally captured clear images of the Stander gang in action. As photos were released in newspapers, tip-offs poured in. People recognized gang members. The gang splintered. Hale fled toward Greece and Europe. McCall hid in a safe house, but was ultimately cornered and killed in a shootout with police. Hale was eventually arrested in the UK and extradited, serving more time for his crimes. As for Stander, he made his way to Florida, hoping to sell a yacht purchased as a getaway vehicle for the gang. Using a fake identity as Peter Harris, he slipped through police checks, even after being arrested for driving an unregistered car. But his luck ran out when a car dealer recognized him from media reports and tipped off the police. When police finally arrived at his Florida apartment, Stander wasn't there. But as he returned, he bumped into Officer Michael Van Sta. In a desperate attempt to escape, Stander tried to wrestle the officer's shotgun but was shot in the stomach. By the time paramedics arrived, South Africa's most wanted man was dead, bringing to an end one of the wildest, most audacious tales of bank robbery South Africa and the world has ever witnessed.